What's going on? What's popping, good people? So listen, Yuki Tsunoda is out of a seat, and in my opinion, might be a little bit prematurely. Just how I feel. I don't. I think there were several things that happened throughout Yuki's time and his stint at Red Bull. Plus, let's not forget the second Red Bull seat is known to be a career killer, and it's known to be a very difficult task because the team literally seems as if they build two cars for one driver. And if you don't have that same driver style, what's going on, self made? If you don't have that same driving style, it's going to be difficult. And Yuki's not the only one to go through this. All right. Danny Rick was probably the best driver that we saw when everything kicked off. Sergio Perez did the best in the car overall through several seasons. But we've seen several drivers go and come out of the seat. Gasly, Albon, Nick DeVries. We've seen several drivers go and come now. Lim Lawson and now Yuki, to the point where to some degree, it's not these drivers, it's the team. What's going on, Mary Beanie? What's up, Incredible Fast Quest? What's up, Oka? It's the team. The team has a logistic problem. The team has a situation where they've got to change their philosophy in regards to both cars being competitive and both cars being within reason for two different style of drivers. Or they've got to seriously start considering doing different things on each side of the garage because it hasn't worked. And Yuki is a victim of this. And now we got Hadjar, who's getting promoted to Red Bull next season. I think it's something he shouldn't do. I don't know if it's in his contractual agreement that if the team gives you an opportunity to move up, either you take that promotion and then they decide whether they want to demote you back to the junior team or not. But it's an option I probably would have declined based off evidence that it hasn't worked out. And unless you can show me or tell me something that is drastically changing to the point where I feel I've got a better opportunity for my talents to be displayed in this car compared to all the other string of drivers that have completely failed and went elsewhere and kind of did a bit better, even as going back to the junior team having a bit of performance. If I'm Hadjar, I'm not taking that seat. I'm very, very hesitant on taking that seat. And we can look and see that I'm not saying Yuki did absolutely better than Lim Lawson this season, but I am going to say that given the sample of what was done, I'd say he did better than Lim Lawson probably would have done. And so here we go. We've got the races since Japan that Lim and Yuki were doing, that they competed in. Now, of course, some areas in here, they were absent due to collision, due to failure, and what may have you. But overall, Yuki did better in this first stint. He had a situation. We know he started what they will call underperforming. Yuki was 17th, Lawson's 8th. We come here, we got Yuki 13th, Lawson 11th. We come here, Lawson was absent that race. I think that was in Canada. Lawson, what happened in Canada? I want to say it was a reliability situation with Lawson in Canada that prevented him from competing there. Then you come here, we got Yuki 16. Then you come here, we also have in Brit, we got Yuki 15, but we also had Lawson in the British GP, had a collision, take him out, and then we get the update. And this is also a very important piece for us to consider, right? This is an important piece for us to consider because Mankey's gets in there and finds out that Yuki's not even getting the same attention to the updates on his car as Max Verstappen. So he's not even driving the most update revision with Red Bull. Now, whether that revision is competitive or not in the hands of Yuki, it still goes to say that Red Bull decided through updates, this is the car that gives us the best opportunity, and they had not given that to Yuki. So here it is, another article of evidence that shows the lack of fair treatment on both sides of the garage for the drivers with machinery. So they go ahead and they get Yuki through spare parts sitting around up to where Max's car supposedly is are comparable. And so we do see a shift in performance here. This is when the update, I think the update took place in Belgium. I want to say it was the Belgian GP. All right. It was either Belgium or it's going to come over here. It's going to be a Hungarian GP. But we get this update here. And yes, Yuki had a 17th. I understand, not the best, lost an 8. But you can see we also need to take into, I think these are some of the things that are not taken into consideration. He's driving one aspect of a car, one revision of a car, one iteration of a car, and then it's changing on him. So I don't know why you would just safely assume because he gets a new revised car based on the updates that automatically he's going to be able to perform in that car. That's changing in midstream. He's going to have to get adjusted to a car in which he was just getting adjusted to what he thought he was having. So it would be understandable to have a bit of a regression in that next competition because you see, going back to work with Yuki doing his thing, you'll see that he did come back up and have a nice little performance here in the Dutch GP. We got, who do we got in here? We got a super chat going on in here. Let's see the super chat. Super chat is by Mary Beanie. Mary Beanie says, worried about Hajar with trashy Red Bull, which to bit, right. I feel you. I understand that, Mary Beanie, and you have every valid reason to be concerned about what Hajar's future is going to be with Red Bull next season. Very valid. There's nothing invalid about the way you feel in regard to what could potentially happen to Hajar. So we go back in here, we get the update, we have a little regression, and then boom, Yuki starts performing pretty much. All right. 9-12, 13-14, a little bit off, 5-6, which is good. Good finishes there. Yuki outperforms Lawson here, outperforms Lawson there. Has some setbacks here, but Lawson also did not finish here because he was absent. I want to say in Mexico, Lawson had some, I think he might have caused some car damage to the floor there. Then you come here, Yuki falls back 17, and then again coming back into performance, all right? So we don't ever see a gap to this magnitude shortly after the update. After the update, everything is pretty much an overlay of what's going on. But what also should be taken into consideration here is Yuki's new team, new car he hasn't been competing in, new everything, whereas Lawson is just going back to where he came from before he got falsely promoted and then got degraded, got downgraded. So really the upside is for Lawson in this situation if they're just trying to review. Lawson has an upside. Lawson's not with a team that he hasn't been with before. Yuki's in a car he hasn't driven before. He's with a team he hasn't been with before as far as logistically planning in and out for race weekends. He's already in what everybody knows is the worst situation to be in as a number 2 driver within a team at Red Bull, the second car. He wasn't given the updates until much later when they changed team principles, when Christian Horner got his touchy hands, grabby ass up out of here. Mackey's came in. Okay, a little bit of familiarity for Yuki as well. I think it's a bit soon to get Yuki out of there. He also didn't get the offseason. He didn't get testing. I think it's a bit soon to get Yuki out of there. I think Yuki should have been able to go through this season, into the offseason, into testing, and give him the first 6 racing events to see if he's improved based off his last stat line. We can't compare him to Sergio Perez and all of this other stuff because Max Verstappen wasn't even doing that good. They had to bring the car around from Max Verstappen. Let's not forget about that. Max Verstappen didn't really start performing as well as it has been. And honestly, it's debatable if Max Verstappen's performance is the reason where Red Bull is versus McLaren dropping the ball and not doing things that they should have done, to be fair on that aspect. But that is a part of racing. And you can't blame Max for being there when opportunity found him because McLaren dropped it or Ferrari wasn't there to compete or Mercedes. It is what it is. But still, we can still look and say, okay, well, you really wasn't doing all that great more than it was, or the real story was about this team not doing the best they could have done. But I think fairly, Yuki should have been given off-season testing in at least the first 6 racing events to show Red Bull like, hey, with an off-season, with testing, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be closer to max than I was last season. I'm going to be finishing top 5. I'm going to qualify better. I'm going to make it through SQ1, SQ2, SQ3. I'm going to make it through Q1, Q2, Q3. Free practice sessions are going to look a lot better. My lines and everything are going to be cleaner. So I think they should have given Yuki a bit more time. But what I will say is this. Red Bull need to look at themselves. What's up, Stinky Juan? What's up, Marciano? Red Bull need to seriously look at themselves. Their philosophy in which they are still following is flawed. It does not facilitate nor nurture the talents of 2 drivers in such a way where you can extract the most out of them for the betterment of the team. It's not. They're going to have to change the way they're going to design these cars. They're going to have to change the way they want to update. Stop trying to tell people that you can't do that. That this car is the fastest in this configuration and this is the way you got to drive it. That's not true. What's best for you and what's best for me is that within this iteration of the car, you adjust it and you outfit it for how I can drive the best. Because let's not forget the time where the car had more understeer. Sergio was doing better than Max in that car. And what they did was bring that car around in development for it to be more pointy. And then Max started performing better from then on out. Max was priority. The car was built towards Max. Both cars built towards Max. They got to change the way they're going into this development for these teams, for the drivers, and for their own sake if they want to compete for constructor championships. You need both drivers to be present more often than not in good points for you to get constructors championship. And honestly, I'm hoping they lose out on both this season. But McLaren has made it obviously possible for Red Bull via Max Verstappen to sneak in the door because McLaren failed to logistically do what a team should do, which is play offense and defense, and Zach Brown doesn't know how to do both, obviously. Or maybe he only knows how to do both when Lando's in the front. So either way it goes, Red Bull need to change the way they're doing business. They need to change the way they develop, and they'll be a better team because of it as far as drivers. They're trash when it comes to character, integrity, and everything else. So I think it's too soon for Yuki to be out of there. It's unfortunate. I don't think Yuki has really gotten a fair shake compared to what we've seen other drivers get. I think they were hesitant and a little bit reserved on even giving Yuki the opportunity that he got. I think it took a little bit much for him to get that. He had to deal with this with Nick DeVries. He had to deal with this with Lawson. He had to deal with this with Danny Rick. He had to deal with this so much. I think they should have given him a bit more understanding and leniency with trying to come along with as much as Yuki has had to face and outperforming and bringing points to a junior team where other drivers weren't. I don't think this is the right thing to do. Incredible Facts Quest says it's a cultural problem with Red Bull. I agree. I completely agree with you. It is a cultural problem with Red Bull. So this is the Red Bull way. And drivers need to understand this. And this is why I don't think Hadjar should have been as quick to take the promotion if he had the ability and the option to say no, not right now. Red Bull are a McDonald's of drivers. They want everything fast, boom, 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 deliver or not. And if you can't, they're shipping you out of there. And this is also where I say that the FIA and Formula One need to disband one team having basically two teams, 4 drivers, and 4 cars in one competition. I think this is an unfair advantage. Other teams don't have this ability to have an array of 4 drivers getting Formula One experience, free practice experience, development experience, track experience, and then mix and shuffle these drivers to bring the best out of the four that they have up to try to be as competitive. This is where I also think that they need to disband that. Red Bull Junior team needs to go away. Another team needs to be able to come in and purchase this team or operate this team and so on. It's not a secret, and they can say whatever they want to say, but this is just Red Bull having 4 cars and 4 drivers at all times. Sharing information, sharing parts, all of that. So I'm not in with that, and I think that's another thing that needs to be brought to the attention and definitely talked about and something done about it. So that's where I sit with that. You all let me know where you sit about it in the comment section. We will be live. It's Abu Dhabi weekend. This is going to be the final race of the 2025 season. There's no telling how this is going to turn out. It's actually absolutely been a little bit of a shit show, and it might be a bigger shit show come this weekend. But whatever it is, it's going to be what it's going to be. And we'll see how things are going to turn out in an extremely interesting season of 2026 to come. So I will see you all on the next one. Peace and love. Be happy. Drink water. Stay safe.